got permission from the farmer to come in here and brush hog and plant some food plots. So I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna climb up into the tree stand and show the view from up there. Grass is anywhere from 6 to 9 feet high, so it has to be brush hogged first. Then we're gonna disc it and plant it. So it's a little on the warm side. It's 99 degrees today, but we're gonna get it done. See what happens. The grass is so tall you can't even see. That was spectacular. I was able to get into the stand, and I was just walking in here to demonstrate the effectiveness of the stand to be able to slip in and out undetected. And there's a doe with 2 fawns right there. Anyway, so a lot of wild native grasses here, a lot of bedding cover, a lot of natural feed, but now we have some food plots on the farm, one here and one on the other side of the farm, and I'll be up there in just a minute filming. But I want to talk about the effectiveness of the stand. So I'll be able to come in the afternoon, actually come right across the plot right up to the stand. When I get down, I'm not going to exit because there'll be deer in the field potentially. So I have about a 10-yard wide strip all along the edge of this river here. Okay, there's the river. Okay, and when I get down and I climb to the base of the tree, and I'll climb down here in just a second, at ground level they can't see me because of all the screening cover. But when I get down from the stand, I'm going to get down, I only have to take about 4 or 5 steps, and I'm in the creek, and then I'll be walking out of sight, and my scent will be a non-issue all the way out for about 150 yards, and then I have a trail about 150 yards brush hogged across the open field, and then connecting back to the farm where I'll be parking. So it's a perfect setup. So I'm going to climb down here and show what it looks like at ground level. Alright, here's what it looks like at ground level. You can't even see the food plot, and I'll be able to, like I said, slip out, walk down the creek, right down in, walk all the way out. Well, it's a great way to start opening day. I was filming. Oh, he's back, he's back. I heard this buzzing right behind my head, maybe about 3-4 feet behind me. And I turn around and look. There's a hummingbird, like maybe. Me. 27 yards. Right behind the front shoulder. That's what you want. Today is Sunday, September 8th. I just got her done. Man, oh man. It's deceptive, you know, on a food plot or an open field in general, because it looks closer than what it is. It's always a little bit further, you know. You have a tree or a bush between you and the animal. You have that frame of reference, and you can gauge a little bit easier. But so I knew that doe was gonna veer and go to the right, and she did. I shot the deer to like the back end of the heart, maybe clipped one of the major blood vessels that feeds into the heart, right behind the front shoulder, a little bit far back, and so the deer bled really good up until the first, maybe 100 yards, and then she cut into this grass, and she's laying up along this tree line, and I was following. I lost blood right here in this edge, where the short grass meets the tall grass. And she kind of started to slow down and walk and then like lay down. And I just heard a thud. So she's struggling. So I'm just going to give her like another hour or so, a couple hours maybe. Probably. Well, I didn't find the doe. So even our best laid plans sometimes don't come to fruition. And what's interesting is that doe came in and it was 27 and a half yards according to the rangefinder, and up and down it was perfect, but as you can see in this little clip here, I was about 4 inches too far back, and the doe was quartering to me slightly, and although the entrance wound was great because it went to the liver, maybe the tail end of the lungs, but it definitely went to the liver. Because she was quartering towards me, the exit wound was through the guts. So I'm going to play that little clip right now. Okay, so I mean, as you saw there, she did the mule kick and off she goes. And the blood was really good. Like every other step, there was solid blood. I mean, I filmed quite a bit of those blood drops, but not even half of them. There was quite a few. So she runs out of the food plot, and she gets to the corner of where the short grass meets the real tall 6 to 10 foot grass, and she bangs a right, and she runs down the length of the brush and tree fence line. And she goes down about 35 yards, stops, and then cuts in. Well, I waited about 45 minutes before I got down from the tree and took up the trail. So by the time I got to that point where she ducked into the fence line, it was about almost an hour. Well, I should have backed out. Good learning lesson. And I knew better. when you look at the raw footage, you play it back, and you have to, and you don't, in your reaction, your initial reaction is not, oh my gosh, that's a dead deer, and you're elated, and without a doubt that deer's going down. If that doesn't happen, and you have to play back the footage a few times, that's a good indication that you should probably back out. If you don't see the deer fall, definitely back out. But good learning lesson. There's plenty of season left. It's only the opening weekend. Season goes until mid-January. So I'll have plenty of opportunities to shoot a doe, and hopefully get that on camera as well. Yeah. Here's a zoomed up image so you can really see what the arrow hit. A little far back, as you can see, yes, but had I waited about 3-4 hours instead of going after the deer within the first 45 minutes, instead of running off onto the neighbors, I would have found this doe. Good learning lesson. This morning, when I got back to the truck, I didn't take the tripod camera attachment. After the morning hunt, I didn't take the tripod camera attachment off and then reconnect the camera arm for a tree stand hunt back to the camera, so I can't film and shoot at the same time. Tonight's this deer's lucky night. Soybean field over my right shoulder. I'm gonna go slip in over the top of the hill, carry my little portable seat here, and set up in a little patch of grass overlooking the field. Hopefully catch them as they come out from this about a 4 or 5 acre field, wooded lot. And it's a spot where I shot a 160 class in 2016, first year on the farm. So I'm gonna grab my seat here and then head out. Of his ears. When I came in over the top of the hill, I saw a coyote, and he was bouncing, not because he was running from me, but because he was looking for mice. And I lip squeaked to him, and he came about 100 yards closer. I thought, I'm just gonna slip in and get into position. And then I jumped him, and now he's down at the bottom of the hill there. That coyote. Beautiful sunset here. Alright, this is perfect. I watched that big mature doe bed down. She's about 80 yards away from me. It's about 60 degrees right now. I'm gonna get down out of the tree. And I'm gonna exit in the creek all the way back to the truck. I'm gonna swap out the camera arm for the tripod, and I'm gonna plant a stalk. If she would have stopped for even a second before she bolted, there'd be one dead doe. That was exciting. Someone's gonna get in a fight. Right now she's 69 yards away. They just entered in the field. That doe definitely sees something else coming. And here they are. Well, although he's not a shooter, he's bigger than the other two deer, and what a great way to end the hunt. Well, we finally got rain today. It's Sunday, October 6th. We finally got rain. It rained off and on kind of hard the last few hours. It rained and stopped, and then rain and stop, and then it's supposed to rain again starting about 7:30 until the wee hours of Monday morning. And we're supposed to get anywhere from 1/2 inch to 2.5 inches. The food plot really just, it's like when that rain came out, it just turned green, like really green. That's awesome. made a bad hit. And she ran like 20 yards and then stopped. Alright, just to be safe, I'm gonna slip out of here as quietly as possible. There's like 6 or 7 does and 2 bucks in the field. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slip out of here. She's rolled over onto her side, and I can see her white belly, but she was kicking a little bit. So I'm gonna be safe instead of sorry. I'm downwind of the food plot. So I'm gonna slip out of here and come back in about an hour. It's 9 o'clock, and I did the right thing by letting the doe expire and staying downwind of the food plot. I was able to sneak out of here, and nice big doe. She's been dead for probably about an hour and a half at this point, but it was about a 30-yard shot, and it's actually not too bad, right behind the front shoulder. I mean, complete pass-through. So I'm gonna go find the arrow and wrap up the camera here before the second wave of rain comes. It's supposed to rain 100% chance from here on out until mid-morning tomorrow. So nice big doe, and now the work begins. Final on the board for 2019. Yo, Matthews Halon did it again. Love when a plan comes together. "31 yards. Now these does can just grow rack about 185 inches. I'll take my bow off the bow hook. Look at that shot right there. There, just kind of hanging out. Beautiful morning. Doesn't get much more beautiful than wood ducks. Okay, I gotta make this quick, but I wanted to do a little pre-hunt interview. I have 2 does out in the field, in the food plot. I had 3 does behind me about 10 minutes ago. It's only 5:35, and the deer are already out moving. So, on Tuesday this week, my wife and I found out that we're having a baby boy, Dakota Bow.
So far so good. So I'm tickled to death. And also, this morning, Beast showed up at 6:26 a.m. There he is. So, I'm just so blessed. Here's another picture from head on. So, he's 9.5 years old. And, I mean, this is the first year that I'm really going to be going after him. The last 2 years, I filled my tag before I was able to put an arrow in him. Now, it's a long story, but this year's different. So, he's my #1 hitless buck. Between the two animals, two fawns and 10-pointer. Black face paint on. And I looked to my left. About 10 seconds later, I got movement from the blind to the left, maybe 5 yards away. And these toes just popped up. I can't believe it. I've been in the blind 30 seconds. Alright, it's Tuesday, October 22nd, and I'm situated in a stand along a fence line that runs perpendicular to this drainage ditch, where just a few days ago, last week Friday in the morning, I saw a 150-inch class 6x5. Didn't recognize him from last year or this year, just popped up out of nowhere. He came in along this drainage ditch in the morning, right at first light, with this beautiful, typical 5x5 with a little extra 2-inch tine on the right side at the base of his brow. So, tough to pass up a deer like that, but when you know that there's a 180 plus inch class, non-typical, it's at least a little bit easier. I would have shot him if Beast wasn't around. It was a nice buck. But wind's out of the west-southwest. I'm downwind of this primary scrape. Beast likes to hit this scrape starting about the 25th of October. So it's a few days earlier than normal. But in 2017, he showed up on the farm on October 18th. Last year, he showed up on the farm on October 15th. And this year, he showed up on the 12th. So I don't know if he's just, getting senile or his core home range is shrinking or what. I really don't care, okay? But I know that he's around, so that's exciting. So yeah, the food plot's looking just awesome. Nice green and lush. We got some rain last night. Cooled the temperatures off by about 14 degrees. It's about 60, 62. And so we'll sit here tight and see what happens. It's almost 5 o'clock. So now that the sun is just going over the tips of the trees, it's going to start dropping here in about 45 minutes. It's supposed to get down to the mid 40s, high 40s tonight. So I am optimistic. We'll see what happens. Does came out from directly downwind of me within 18 yards. And this little guy has been covering my downwind side for an hour and a half. Those does came out of nowhere. Fighting the end of a sore throat and congestion. Buck is trailing these does. Harass them. Now we're talking. Predictable 2 makes his appearance.
what a treat to see two bucks like this sparring, but what a size difference between the 1.5-year-old and the 4.5-year-old buck. Just a cool encounter.
Anyway, that's the first time I've laid eyes on a buck I call Predictable 2. He's in the 150s, and I shot his brother in 2017. I'll bring up here on camera. Right there. Here's Predictable 2. On the left-hand side.
That rumbling sound in the background is a helicopter coming in, and the deer takes off here in just a second because there was a trio of annoying raccoons off to my right that caught his attention, and that's why they ultimately cleared the field.
Looks like 2 or 3 raccoons down here in the drainage ditch that feeds into the creek. And they're running around making noise in the leaves, and it sounds like a person walking around. They're so damn noisy. That was cool. I had 8 deer in the food plot, including a buck I recognize as Predictable 10. That was awesome watching him just kind of walk right at me. I think what happened is he thought that the noise that he heard was coming from kind of like my direction, but the noise was off to the side. It's to the west. Stupid raccoons here. So they cleared the field.
All right, here it is, October 25th, Friday morning, and here's buck number 1. second buck to show up for the morning was a nice 9-pointer. Not quite a shooter, but a cool encounter nonetheless. I was able to pull that 9-pointer back out into the open again, but he had his mind made up. There's a doe that came through earlier, and he's after her.
Me.
Here we are in Kentucky. I'm with Sean, my son. Pretty excited because this is a coveted whitetail tag.
There's deer right there. There's deer right there. See the doe? See the doe? Careful, Dad. They're right downwind of us now. Slowly. Dad, she's right to my right.
Oh, Dad, buck.
Meh. Meh.
And then about a half hour later, I catch movement about 400 yards off, and here's buck number 2.
Nice buck. Oh, he's a good one. I call to him. What do you think, Dad? What do you think?
Beautiful deer. He's drinking right now. I'm not sure what's next.
Now let's see that in slow motion.
Big doe.
The other day when we were in here Friday afternoon, Sean grunted a nice buck that came in all the way along the creek and followed us up all the way. Probably worked it for probably 20, 30 minutes. Came in to about a 24-yard shot, and I held for a long, long time. Too long. I drew back earlier than I should have. And when the buck stopped, I was fatigued out and I was waiting for him to open up a spot. And when he stopped, he looked right at me. And at that point, I let the arrow go. And I hit him high just as he was turning to run away. And we came in the next morning. We looked for a couple hours, searched the whole hillside, walked the river
We think we
creek
jumped
bottom,
him.
and we didn't have any success. Very frustrating because I made a poor shot. As we looked at the video when we got back home, we could tell that he had dropped probably between 4 and 5 inches. But if the shot were placed a little bit further back, behind the shoulder, I think it would have been a fatal shot. But I guess that's called bow hunting, and it's pretty frustrating for me. I don't consider myself a superb archer, but I'm trying to get better each day. But it's very frustrating. Put all this time and effort in. Sean worked his butt off to get to this particular point. Put all the ground blinds up, put the tree stands in. Did a lot of work, and it's not easy to swallow, but it is what it is. We're back in here again today, and we'll see how it goes. Appreciate being here.
I want to make a note here that 21 days later, during the gun season, I would end up having an encounter with the same 8-pointer that my dad shot, and spotted him from about 700 yards away, and didn't recognize the deer at first, put a stalk on him and ended up getting him within about 25 yards to 30 yards of him. Easily could have shot the deer, but he was completely fine and no worse for the wear. This is about a few days later, and I'm out on a different farm, and I have this beautiful encounter with this 3.5-year-old 10-point. Obviously hot on this doe, so I'll just play it from here.
Got a nice 10-pointer in the field. It just came out. Looks like a 3.5. You can very clearly hear this buck grunt at this doe. Well, I've had ample opportunity at harvesting this 3.5-year-old deer, but he's just not quite the caliber of deer that I'm looking for. So I had some fun calling him in and laying down some great footage, but it's kind of like a catch and release hunt. He's got the real thing right there. Nice 3.5-year-old 10-point, but you know, not quite there, not what we're looking for. The wind's out of the west, and that buck, after scent checking the food plot, harassing that little doe, he went towards Dad. Dad's about 400 yards away from me, to the straight west. That's exciting though. was a cool encounter. I decided to just take the camera off the camera arm when he got real close. He walked within, I don't know, 9 yards.
Here it's November 1st, 2019, 30 degrees, and here's the first buck to show up. Well, I knew it was just a matter of time before I saw one. That's the same 10-pointer I saw last weekend when Dad was down for the weekend hunt. He came out and stood right in front of my camera. As you saw, that was kind of cool. Boy, he's walking with a crosswind. The wind's out of the west, and he's walking straight north with the wind blowing over his left shoulder. He's out cruising through that field, and he got to the far end of the field where there's a little hump there, and there's a doe that jumped out of the field. She was already bedded in the grass. That was cool. And here's buck number 2 for the morning. Missing his entire right side. He's still about, 15 yards away from me. 16 yards. Little guy. And buck number 3 finally makes his appearance.
12:45. And that's the third buck that I've seen this morning. Between 8:30 and 12:30. You know, that old 10 to 2 thing. That holds water. Oh, this is cute. They don't even have real antlers yet. Look at that. That's funny. Oh, he's big-bodied deer.
If you see a 2.5-year-old 9-pointer by himself, you think, oh, it's a nice deer, until he walks by a 4-year-old that's 75 pounds bigger. This 8-pointer I recognize from trail camera pictures. He's not ever going to be a high-scoring 8-pointer, but just an obviously mature animal. And when the 2.5-year-old walked right by him here, you can see the size difference is pretty obvious.
The size difference. That's a nice buck. I have trail camera pictures of this beefy 8-point. He's not a beast though.
If you look closely in this next clip here, you'll see what looks like to be a large cyst underneath this doe's right eye. But even more cool than that is this little doe right there next to the big buck has a tail that's completely black, and the doe doesn't have any white underneath its throat or underneath its legs or its belly, so it's a very unique colored whitetail.
I think I found a good spot to hunt turkeys this spring.
Most breeding happens after dark, so to see a buck actually breed a doe during daylight is pretty rare, but to capture on camera is even cooler. So in this next clip here, you're going to see the buck mount the doe, and I got the whole thing on camera.
Wow, I'm getting the breeding. I just caught that on camera. That is awesome. I knew it. I knew that lone doe was in heat. Took him 45 minutes, but he got her. Not a big one, but still a buck. Yeah, I knew that was an 8-pointer.
I ended up watching this buck make a total of 4 scrapes. Really cool
I'm
encounter.
gonna make a scrape.
Here's scrape number 1.
Out of frustration.
Here's scrape number 2. scrape number 3. And scrape number 4. Here I'm going to take doe number 1. Here she clears the fence, and then you'll hear the second crash, and that's where she tips over. I'll take advantage of this great opportunity to fill the freezer and take my second doe of the morning.
Eat. Eat.
That's how you want it. Perfect setup. Park the truck. Come in from downwind. Wind in my face. Slip up into the stand that I've hung like almost 3 months ago now. And it's perfect, you know, broadside shot for both deer. The one ran up the fence line. I think she jumped the fence and then died just over the top of the fence. I didn't see her run across the field. So that'll be a quick short drag. And this one will be a short drag as well. The truck is just on the other side of the fence. So it's a perfect setup for a doe hunt. I saw 2 small bucks. One was a small 8-pointer, and the other was looked like a half rack. Not a shooter either way. Neither one of them are. But I mean, I had does all around me. I've got these 6 does here, and then I saw 4 more. That's 10, and then I saw 3 more over here. That's 13, and then I saw 14, 15. So I've got 2 more, so I have 15 does, and now there's 13. I took out 2. That'll help with the buck to doe ratio a little bit, and fill the freezer. So I'm excited. Now the work begins. I need to get down, call the 800 telecheck number, and then get to field dressing. Alright, it's the second day of gun season here in Kentucky. I've got 2 does that I harvested, both really big. This one's enormous. So made 2 really good shots on both deer, and
both behind the front shoulder, right there, and then right there. So that's what you want. Got some good table fare now. The freezer's full. I've shot my 3 deer, my 3 does, and pretty excited about that. So now I have to start with the gutting and field dressing and quartering and all that good stuff. That was exciting. Safe and ethical harvest. Got some real nice big does, which will make for really good eating. That's what it's all about. Awesome.
Let's see that in slow motion. And the second.
Totally didn't get on camera. God. Shiitake mushroom, as my buddy Drew likes to say. Oh man, that was exciting. Gotta sit down. Oh crap. God, I just got out to the farm here a little after 2 o'clock and it was pouring rain. So I had my camera in my pack and covered up, and I was filming one buck after the next with my phone. So I get here first and I'm in the stand maybe 10 minutes and a doe came out from the west. So she came in from upwind and she was going to turn and circle and go down towards the creek, either to cross or have a drink of water. There's another deer. Another buck. Here comes another buck. Buck number 6. I'm just telling the story here. The power of a hot doe during the middle of the rut. Anyway. He's late to the party. Man, that was exciting. Okay, so I'm gonna back up. So a few days ago on the farm, there's a beautiful 150s class 6x5 that showed up. And he was hitting all my cameras, all my mock scrapes. He came in at like 2:30 in the morning. And then a couple days ago, he showed up around 2:15 in the afternoon. And so there's a front coming through, and the buck is coming down the hill now. There's a front coming through tonight, and it just stopped raining. Dang it, I could have got that entire thing on film. So I'm in the stand here, and I'm filming in between like the squalls of rain with my cell phone, with my iPhone. And this doe comes out, and she comes out to feed or cross. Eventually she makes a circle, she comes right past the decoy, and she circles and she goes and she crosses the creek, right? And then she goes off further to the west. And then about 15-20 minutes later, 2 little fawns come out and feed, and they completely just ignore my buck decoy,
paid it no mind, and they just went back to feeding, no big deal, and just kind of circled off to the north, right? And then they're almost off the field, and here comes a doe running full bore, tongue hanging out, mouth gaping open, and she cuts across the corner of the field, and her tongue is hanging out, and she's zigzagging, her tail's tucked down below her legs, and I'm like, God, here we go. And sure enough, the two fawns on the northwest corner of the field, they look off to the northeast, and here comes buck number one. And buck number one comes running down, he cuts across the field, and it's like pouring rain, and I'm filming with my phone. The good camera's in the pack. Dang it. So, I mean, I don't want to take the camera out. Camera arm is set up, everything's good to go. I'm assuming I'm going to have to hunt after this buck tomorrow. But this front just ending, and it's cold. It's going to get down to the 30s with rain turning to snow. I was like, God, it might happen tonight. And sure enough, this hot doe comes around down the hill, and she comes within maybe 25, 28 yards of me, and then off she goes, zigzag along the creek. And then buck number 1, 2, and 3 come barreling down the field, and the first one comes out and pushes my buck decoy over, and I got a little clip of him on my phone, and then it starts squalling again, like rain's coming down sideways, I'm soaking wet. I'm like, okay. So I put the phone away, and I can protect the phone, but it's even at that, I mean, I don't want the phone to get all wet, right? So I put it away. Here comes the second buck, third buck. All of a sudden, here comes buck number 4 from the neighbors, from straight north, and he comes running along the top of the hill, and he looks like he's gonna go towards the barn. So I get out the rattling horns and I smash the rattling horns, and he turns and he comes 90 degrees straight down towards the bottom of the hill, and he cuts across and he catches where that doe came through just 20 minutes earlier, whatever, 15, 20 minutes earlier. And he's like, oh man, when he comes out, he's about 90 yards away, and this tree, it's a white oak, and it's like the slightest amount of movement, the whole thing shakes, right? So I'm like, God, I don't want to take a 90 to 100 yard shot. I'm gonna wait until he gets closer. So he gets to 70, 60, 50, and it's like 50, 55 yards maybe, and boom, a double lung him. He runs off, full barrel, boom, I hit him both times. I hit him the second time running, and he runs over here, and he's behind the tree, and I'm gonna stand up and hold the camera. I can barely see him with the naked eye, but he's right smack dab behind the tree. So I'm gonna do the best I can, and then I'm gonna get down and do the recovery. Oh man, see, like the rain was coming down pretty heavy, and then like right as he shows up, he's running down, and I'm like, oh God, do I get the camera out and put on the camera? Screw it, I'm just gonna I could have got it on camera. Dang it. I got little tiny bucks on camera with the phone. There's this little guy speaking a little buck. Bucks like this all afternoon, just chasing, trying to get after that doe. He's late to the party, so I'm gonna try to spot this buck from the stand here. Look, I parked the truck about 250 yards downwind and slipped in here. Just chasing hardcore. I mean, so exciting. So, I mean, I don't normally do good during the rut. I mean, I pick a buck that I want to go after with the bow, and I try to get him from the middle of October until the end of October. That late pre-rut before those does start coming to heat, while he's still on a somewhat of a bed to feed and then back to bed pattern. And but he's on his feet more, especially when we get some cold weather. God, I was excited. I'm still shook up. God, that's awesome. All right, I'm gonna get down. I can't take it anymore. I gotta get down and take a look at him. All right, there's a stand. That's where I hid the decoy.
Look at this. Look what the buck did to the decoy. God, I hope the... Oh, put the camera down here for a second. Well, no tracking required for this one. Walk right up on him. Oh, it doesn't get any easier than this. I'll drive right to him, and that's it. Okay, now I see the rack. There you go. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. All right. Put all my stuff down here. I'll put my gun down. All right, here he is. You know, I was really bummed. I've been bummed since about October 30th because the last picture I got of Beast was on October 13th, and I don't know if it was EHD, poachers, predators, disease, old age, car collision, hunter, whatever, but I haven't seen Beast, and I'm pretty sure he's dead or been bumped off the farm by that aggressive 5-6-year-old beefy 8-point. Regardless, I've actually hunted some other places for both the bow and with both the bow and the rifle. I haven't cracked out the rifle in years because I've always tagged out with the bow, and I thoroughly enjoy archery quite a bit more than I do gun hunting. But this year I wanted to pull out all the stops and at least try to get Beast, if not something else that was respectable and worth a trip to the taxidermist. And this deer showed up on the 19th. I started getting pictures of him on the 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and here it is today. It's right now, it's the 23rd, and it's 4:52. Shot the buck about 45 minutes ago, and I have pictures of him on the 20th at 2:25, so 3 days ago. It's not too far from where this picture was taken, and that was on the 20th. Here he is again, and I have other pictures of him, including this morning at 2:38 and 2:28. And whenever a buck shows up, especially during daylight, you got to get on him right away, because if you don't, the window closes quickly. And my wife, Fanta, has been very supportive. She knows how much time it takes and effort, regardless of the wind direction, the weather, the temperature. I mean, I'm out there, you know, and it takes a lot of time. So, baby, I love you. And we're very excited because she's pregnant. She's a little over 6 months along. We're having a boy, and we're naming him Dakota Bo. So I'm pretty excited. So this is for you, Dakota. I want to show you this in a couple of years. Yeah, buddy, I love you. So
Fanta's been very supportive, and she knows it takes a lot of time. She knows how passionate I am about the outdoors, and I love filling the freezer with venison, just as much as the next guy, but it's also nice to get big old buck on the ground as well. So again, he showed up just a few days ago, and since Beast has been MIA, I figured I would go after him. I saw an absolute monarch this morning as well, but you know, if I've learned anything over the 30 plus years that I've been hunting, one in the hand's better than two in the bush, and this is a respectable buck. This is a buck that the second I saw, I was like, you know, I'm gonna take him. And just awesome hunt. It was downpouring, like I mentioned earlier on the video, so I was filming little clips of smaller bucks coming through chasing the doe, and it was pouring rain, so the rain would just come down in sheets, and I would pull out my phone, grab a little clip, put it away. So the camera sitting in the pack the whole time. Could have got the whole thing on camera. I mean, literally. Oh well, that's how it works out. Boy, he's big body. Tarsal glands are all dark and stained. He smells beautiful. 6x5. Look at that. Nice long main beams, chocolate rack. Very cool. So I'll get a tag on him and register the deer. And I'll try to zip on home quick and grab the camera before it gets too late. By the time I get this all done, it'll be dark, so the pictures will be after dark, but that's cool. Another one bites the dust. That's for you, Dakota, and for you, baby. I love you.